afternoon. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Oh, I talked about last week that I was going to shut you in. I'm not going to go through the rest of the conference like that. I'll probably have it next week and the following week if I get about it. And then I think after Vacation Bible School that I'm going to show the film titled I Am Israel. And I think last week there's so many different people and as I do, little by little, many of our people in the government.
We received a call from someone looking for a missing person. They reported that the missing person's phone was temporarily active and that its GPS location could be tracked. We will send a unit to the location.
And to me, one of the reasons United States.
We found the location.
Because of the way we have backed Israel and the Jews. But if you noticed last night,
looks like it a hideout.
In New York,
the door is locked. Can you pick it?
Of course.
Strictly anti-Jew, and even the mayor of New York. Well, this was
hello? Anyone here? Hello?
And so,
what the fuck?
Get the wire cutters, quick!
We don't realize how our young people are influenced. So,
Are you okay? Do you want to go home first or go to the hospital?
The Jews. And so we as a church,
Who are you?
pastors now,
This is your house, right?
are confronted with
He's running away!
There was already but some influence
Christmas? You did this for a sick Christmas?
so forth.
Yep.
There are things that we have to
Also, this is from the victim?
But as I said, most people.
What is the pretty blood?
Most people wouldn't go.
What are you talking about?
What is the pretty blood?
This,
You aren't answering me?
I won't say it's exactly what I wanted, but it was closer than anything.
The suspect refuses to cooperate.
And so it's actually a 6-7 day tour of Israel. It's like in essence, you follow guides. And as you go to these different places, these guides will give you background on that particular area, what happened at the biblical time and all that stuff. And so we'll do that. So you'll have a chance to have a tour of Israel. May even rouse your interest to the point you may want to go. But anyway, that's one of the reasons that I've got a lot of interest in presenting to you Israel and the Jews right now. And as you know, we've been in the book of Proverbs quite a while. Proverbs is simply a book of, I think, common sense. It's a guy teaching his son, but there are a lot of things there that we have to be taught in order for us to teach our kids, and we have to learn also. So it's not just for young people, but it's for adults too. And there's no theology here, there's doctrine here. It's simply God that has interest in how things can do, what kind of teaching can have. And he says, this is what it is, you do it, these are things you can think of, this is fun. And really good things, even folks that age and people, really good things. Also, good people, he says, you have no need in what I'm about to write or say to you, but he says you need to be reminded of it. So there are times that when we study the Bible, read the Bible, there may be something we already know, and we've already heard about, but we also need to be reminded of them. So, Book of Proverbs is just one saying after another. Many of them have the same subject matter and so forth, but it's something, and just as the time that we've been going through this, there are things that I had to remind myself of that over a period of time, I kind of let it slip. And again, it's just plain common sense. And again, we're in Proverbs chapter 15. We're going to start with verse 15 tonight. And if you'll notice, I showed the King James and I showed another version beside that. In verse 15, all the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of a merry heart has a continual feast. But there's been a lot of people that always seem to be afflicted. I mean, everybody's against it, world's against it. Just nothing works nothing. And so when you look at this, I'm simply saying, we're always the victim situation. You might all look at your perception. But he says, we're not but he that is of a merry heart hath a continuous life. Life is too brief for us to let our culture and the things going on I watch the news a lot because I think I need to keep up with our voices. But all the days of this 50 life. One of the things that you need to learn to do in your life, and one of my favorite stories in the Bible, His family, he was separated from them. Everything, he was running for his life. And the Bible says that David encouraged himself in the Lord.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, to know, and it will be different for different individuals. What I might do, you may not consider. But when you get yourself down and out and you're struggling emotionally and stuff like that, you got to be able to do like David. You have got to encourage yourself in the Lord. You need to quit being the victim of it. And you've been around folks like that. Obviously, you know, it's good. There's times that you need to share and you get him, stuff like that. But if you're not careful, if you're always the victim, everything is always negative. They're not going to be unkind or anything like that, but you're going to wonder, nobody ever talks to me. Nobody ever invites me to do anything with stuff like that. Many times you just need people to and so, notice what he says in the other verse. A miserable heart means a miserable life. It's short for that. Find you something that you can enjoy, something that you can do. Simple activities. You don't understand this. Look for ways to encourage yourself. Again, I love that story in the Bible. Verse 16. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. The Bible is not against prosperity. The Bible is not against being good stewards of your money. The Bible is not against you having material things. But our society is so constructed so that you're never content. All the advertisements that you see, especially on TV, is to cause you to because you want, you're missing something, if you don't have it, you don't experience. And so, that is the moment of the King of the Lord who became treasures and trouble the way. Well, there is a place we want to go. But we're going with a but we want our kids and our kids our occupation because it's our money and all those things. And again, this is just fun. But a child listens to it. But we when I was back and I could share a lot of things with my buddies and there's a lot of real good stuff. And many times the thing I say is really but I always thought I always wanted to do so back to me. go through school and all that stuff, and ended up teaching for a few years, and then quit doing something now that she enjoyed doing. But she never enjoyed it. But we thought that that was a good occupation. You wouldn't have to worry about having a job. You always have a job. You may not gonna get necessarily rich, but you make decent money and stuff like that. But we're so concerned. We have to watch it even in our home. Notice what he says there. A simple life with a fear of God is better than a rich life with a ton of heartache. And so what we have to find out, as we see, as we read between the lines there, material things and money is not everything in life. And we're going to hit on this more in a few minutes. Verse 17. Better is a dinner of fur where love is than a stall of ox and hatred there. Again, we're talking about somebody sitting down with beans, and potatoes, cornbread, stuff like this. We were talking to somebody that have high ribs and Cuba, ribeye, stuff like that. So we were better than they bring it's a word that we talked about over the years, but most people do not really even know what love is. But remember this. I believe that love has to be cultivated. Many people say, I just fell in love. That's not true. You have to learn love. You have to cultivate love. And so, what happens in the lives of many people, particularly families, as I go back to the verse, we get so material and we want so many things that we don't do things that will cause or allow love to grow within our families, between a husband and wife, between parents, kids and parents. Because we're so busy. And I don't think there's many people that purposefully realize how important love is to the point they say, I'm going to create love. I'm going to cultivate. I'm going to cause love to grow. And that's what happens. Think about this. And many of you gone through it. I'm not trying to pick on it, but just think with me. You see the number of divorces that take place. And you've gone through them. I'm not picking on anybody. But in 99.9% of the marriages, you got together because you thought you loved one another. And after a while, something happened. They're getting closer together to get better. And I think what happens in the lives of most couples, once we get them to husband and wife, we start to take it for granted. We get busy in our occupation. We get busy in our own personal issues. And that love that started out and grows. And after a while, opens doors for a lot of negative things to happen. And so, what he's talking about here in Proverbs is the importance of love. And it's important that we know that love has to be cultivated, be built, and so forth. And we have to do those things. I wonder, and you think about this, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, because I'm talking to myself. What have you done this week? that because your spouse maybe loves you more or thankful about you, you say, that's silly. It's not. It's not. What if you done purposely this week? Because your kids love you more. And I'm not just talking about giving them things. Has there been something you've said or something you've done? And again, it's something I need to be reminded of. That's what I'm reminding you. But I think most would agree with me, the greatest feeling in the world is to feel love. Sometimes people talk about being in church and being here all the time, being here and all that. And I usually at some point in that conversation will say this. Not that I'm so good at anything, but I'll say, as a whole, my church loves me. Now, the reason I say that, it's one of the best feelings I have in life. And so, always remember, people who are the recipient of your, or should be at least, the recipient of your love, purposely do things or say things that will help make that love better and stronger. That's the whole idea behind this verse right here. Verse 18. A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appease strife. Look what the other verse says. Hot tempers start fights, a calm, cool spirit keeps the peace. Strife is something that has to be stirred up. It doesn't just automatically happen. Sometimes people do it on purpose. Sometimes we don't do it on purpose. But it has to be stirred up. You're not going to have a fight unless there's something that leads up to that. And again, you usually tell when you hear me talk what I've been studying. I've been studying a lot lately about temper and self-control. You got to have enough self-control to know what's going to cause strife. Know things you ought to talk about, and as a couple, know things you ought to bring up. And avoid that stuff. But no,
Blackton, fire! Blackton, the healthy drink that being ran with a special secret ingredient.
What he's saying here is, what is this thing? That, as we call it, wildfire.
We extract the special chemical that's released from the blood that's caused by pain.
In many situations, you know what keeps you out.
By drinking it will improve the overall performance of your body and mental health by 300%.
You know what takes the other off? What can light their feet? Why would you not avoid it? Because nothing ever good comes out of strife.
Struggling with
But I like that. He that is slow to anger appeases strife. Notice, hot tempers start fights. A calm, cool spirit keeps the peace. Every couple, one, has to be strong enough to keep it from escalating. And so there are times that all of us, the husband, we may get somewhat cattywampus, the wife may be good. But you gotta get strong enough to know you can't just let this go. And so that's when you gotta be, as he says here, in other words, you gotta be calm. You know, it's almost like if you don't know the right words, if you keep going and harming and boosting home, But it's what we find at home, but in the relationship, it's for a family in many situations. And so, people that make the brag, I guess it is, I'm just hot-tempered. You'll never get me. And again, it's a battle that many of us have to fight. Because again, those what he says are hot-tempered are fire. Verse 19. I like this. The way of the slothful man is paved with thorns, but the way of righteous is made plain. What he's saying here, the lazy individual always has an excuse for not doing something. That's what he's saying here. Here's a guy that starts out to do something, but he can't get over there and do it because there's thorns there. I want to do it, but I can't. And so, lazy people are always having an excuse. We had a person come in this church a while back that lived over here at the apartments. And of course they had some needs and so forth. And at first I thought they were legitimate needs. But when I'd sit and talk to them and I'd make suggestions and stuff, I always had an excuse. Always had an excuse. Well, after a while, I found out and more. And one job always had an excuse. As a church, we have enough people here that we do anything we want to do. But if we're not careful, we'll always make an excuse. And those are what he said, but the way of righteous is made plain. In other words, when you're trying to do the right thing, you'd be surprised how smoothly things will go. But Satan wants us to always look at what could happen, what might happen. Always has an excuse out there. Always. When we got ready to build this church, we put something down like this and we put it down. This church you know. But I was worried about the future of the location and all that stuff. I always talk to myself like that. So I usually won't put out feelings. Before I come to the truth about the truth, and I'll make a decision that speaking councils I talk about tonight. And I'll kind of put out feelings. But I had one guy that took upon the leader of this church. And he said, oh, Mike, we don't need to go that direction. He says, you know, if we were to find land to build a church that we couldn't afford, he says, you know, who's going to affect more than anybody? You. Not going to be affected you. But it was always something. Always something.
เดี๋ยวไอ้เหมียวป้างนี่ดูดีว่ะด็อกซิกเกอร์มันดู
There's
ดี
not
ว่ะ
always
เฮ้ย
been the way of the lazy is a hedge of thorns. They used to get mad at me when I was at Union Carbide. I was over the lay room where they machined electrodes. And something would happen and we can't do this, we can't do that. I said, well, why don't we try to figure out how we can do this? There are many projects in families, there are many churches